What's up, everybody? Nick Dwyer back for the 10th inning here with another episode of This Day in Sports History. In yesterday's episode, we saw the great Joe Montana of the San Francisco 49ers get his number 16 retired. We don't have anything quite like that today, but we do have a couple NFL championships to talk about, we have a Ballon d'Or to talk about, and we have a formation of one of the most famous football clubs in the world. So if you all enjoy this video, leave a like on it. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Let's get to it. This Day in Sports History. We start out today in 1899 with that formation of the football club, and it would be the Italian club AC Milan would be founded as the Milan Football and Cricket Club by Englishmen Alfred Edwards and Herbert Kilpin. Move all the way up to 1918 now in boxing, and Jack Dempsey would knock out Carl Morris in 14 seconds in the first round. Pretty impressive if you ask me. Our first quote championship of the day is actually just a champion in 1923 in the NFL. The undefeated Canton Bulldogs, 11-0-1 on the season, would repeat as champions as they had the best record. 3 years later, in 1926 in Major League Baseball, the first commissioner of Major League Baseball, Kennesaw Mountain Landis, would be renewed as commissioner for 7 years with a raise of $65,000. Back to the NFL championship, in 1928, the Providence Steamrollers would be named champions with the best record at 8-1-2 on the season. 1 year later in the NHL, the Chicago Blackhawks would play their first game at Chicago Stadium, defeating the Pittsburgh Pirates 3-1. Go over to just awards for amateur athletes in 1930, and golfer Bobby Jones would be the first person to ever win the James E. Sullivan Award, Best U.S. Amateur Athlete. 1 decade later, back to boxing, in 1940, Joe Louis would knock out Al McCoy in 6 rounds to retain the heavyweight boxing title. 5 years later, back to the NFL championship, this time an actual game, the Cleveland Rams would defeat the Washington Redskins 15-14, and this would be the final game before the Rams would move west to Los Angeles. Over to the Ballon d'Or, in 1958, French midfielder Raymond Kopa would win the award, ahead of German winger Helmut Rahn and French forward Just Fontaine. Move to the NFL now in 1962, New York Giants quarterback Y.A. Tittle would set the NFL season touchdown pass record at the time with 33 touchdowns after a 6-touchdown performance in a 41-31 win against Dallas. Tittle would actually end up breaking this record the next season with the same team. Then in 1972 in the NFL, the Miami Dolphins would become the first undefeated team through the regular season in the NFL, going 14-0 on the regular season, defeating the Baltimore Colts 16-0 to end the perfect regular season. The next step was winning all their playoff games, and they did. 1 year later, remain in the NFL, and O.J. Simpson would become the first running back in NFL history to run for 2,000 yards in a single season, as he would end up running for 200 yards and 1 touchdown on the day against the New York Jets for a total of 2,003 yards on the season in only 14 games. Stay in the NFL in 1979, and Dallas quarterback Roger Staubach would end up throwing 3 touchdowns and 336 yards in his final NFL regular season game with the Cowboys. Dallas would end up winning 35-34 on the day. Stay in 1979, this time at the Davis Cup, the USA would defeat Italy 5-0 to win their 26th of 32 Davis Cups. And we move up all the way to just last year in 2019 now in the NFL, and Drew Brees would end up breaking Peyton Manning's NFL record of 539 career touchdown passes, regular season only, ironically in a game where the New Orleans Saints would defeat Manning's former team, the Colts, 34-7. Brees went a magnificent 29 for 30 on the day with 307 yards, 4 touchdowns, a 96.7 completion percentage. Not only did he end up breaking Manning's record on the day, but he tied Tom Brady before that with his 538th, tied Peyton Manning on his 539th, then broke Manning on his next touchdown pass, that pass being a 5-yard touchdown to Josh Hill. But that's what happened on this day in sports history. If I left anything out, I do apologize, but I'll see everybody tomorrow for Nick Dwyer and the 10th inning.